What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Level Up, the series where we're looking to take our kayaking from class 3 to class 4 by finding all those small little details that we can exploit and practicing them so that can improve our overall picture of being a better kayaker. This week we're talking about using river features and boat angle in combination to move more efficiently and more effectively. That's super important because the more efficiently you can move, the less effort it takes to move your boat around the river. If you're moving more efficiently and you're using less effort, that means you'll be able to move more amounts of movements, maneuvers and drills and things during your time on the water. That means that you have more opportunity to improve, right? Like if you can do 100 versus doing 150 moves over time, over weeks and months, that's going to add up in the long run to improve you a lot. So we're going to talk about what that means and how to do it. So I've lined up a little bit of an example here. This is just a simple ferry glide from one side of the river to another, from one eddy to another. It's a straightforward move, and this is a kind of example of a great practice move for moving across the water, and it's going to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about. So I've lined up a couple of different clips here. The first clip, we're going to see me paddling from one eddy to the other. Now you'll see my angle is mostly at that classic 2 o'clock angle. I'm moving kind of a steady but not super hard pace. I check where I'm going, I keep my angle pretty constant the whole time, and I get to where I'm going, no problems, right? Now technically this is not bad. You get from A to B, which is what we're looking for. We don't lose too much downstream ground, which is the whole point of a ferry. But it's not the most efficient, it's not the most effective. Now we can see here in this comparison clip, like clip number 2, that it looks pretty similar, right? You can see I'm moving fairly close, but a little bit less. And a couple of changes I made here is about 2/3 of the way across, I let my boat swing down to make more of an S-turn rather than a all the way across ferry maneuver. Now we're not going to get too much into the difference between a ferry and an S-turn and when to use it and when not to, because you probably already know that. But the point I'm trying to get to here is just using that little bit of extra power that the river gives you is going to be quite advantageous. You'll also see at the start of that second clip that I'm kind of using one of those little waves at the top of the eddy line to move across the river more effectively. And that's going to be really telling here in a minute. So now let's look at those two clips side by side, and I've done a little counter for how many strokes it takes me to get from A to B. Now I've lined them up kind of pretty close together in terms of start times and end times here. But if you're watching carefully, you'll see that second clip we watch, which is in the bottom of your screen, is actually a few less strokes, right? Now the only real difference here between A and B is that I opened my bow angle a little bit more once I got to about 2/3 of the way across the ferry, across the river where I was going. And I also used that wave kind of at the start of the eddy line to help shoot me across. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Now I know you're thinking, you're looking, well, whatever, it's a 6-stroke difference, right? How's that going to make a big difference? That's nothing, right? 6 strokes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's nothing. Well, think about that over the course of a day, right? If you're saving 6 strokes across every single move you do, over a day, that's going to add up. Over a week, if you paddle 2 or 3 times a week, that's going to add up. Now let's take it a little step further. So the same exact move again, but I used a higher up wave to shoot me across, and I used it more aggressively, so I stayed right on that wave and I kept my angle just at the kind of sweet spot to move across the river. And as you can see, in less than half as many strokes as the first clip. Now, that's kind of the product of more practice and more repetition over and over and over again. But you can see that if you are paddling and your everyday ferry looks like that first ferry versus that third ferry, well, now we're talking about a significant difference, right? And if you can start carrying that over into every single move you do, that's going to leave you a lot more energy freed up to do a lot more moves. And if you can do a lot more moves, your boat control is going to get a lot better, a lot quicker. So I know it seems like this is a little bit micro niche, it doesn't matter, I can just paddle harder. And up to a point that's true, but if you want to progress, and that's probably why you're watching this video, we need to start thinking about using those waves and using our boat angle so we can work less. And the easier you make it on yourself, the more you can do it, the more you do it, the better you get, and so on and so on and so on, until eventually that level up step is going to come a lot quicker. Alright, so that's kind of what I want you to think about this week. Try and find those little waves, try and work your boat angles. It doesn't have to be wide, it doesn't have to be big. You can start really micro and build up, but try and think about practicing at a high level, practicing perfectly before you move on to the next phase. Alright, that's all I got for this week. I will see you in the next video. As always, I'll be hanging down in the comments, so let me know if this was useful or not, or you think I missed something here. I appreciate your feedback as always, and I will see you in the future. Peace.